Thank you. I haven't heard what I wanted to hear yet. At the start of how big, how you're going to finance things and what the rate increases or decreases are going to be, I would hope you would start with what is the size of the pot that we can afford. And from that, you structure 1 through N, all your priorities, and you find out what fits inside that pot. So I'm asking you to consider that and ask you this question. Assuming you are elected and you get the board to adopt your plan, what should we expect in the way of increases or decreases over the next 5 years?
I think the first thing is in the projected budget of 2013, there is a bookmark for $60 million of debt proceeds that are set to be used for capital expenditures. I think the first thing that we need to do is cut that so that we can live within our budget and not take on the additional $60 million of debt proceeds and work with the working capital that we have. So that would be my first goal. It may be optimistic, but it's going to be the first step that I would take in terms of what we need to start with in terms of a cut. Does that affect our rates going down? No. Does it hopefully start the process of putting a stop to the monumental rate hikes that we're seeing? Yes.
So do you see it going up at first and then coming down?
Yes.
What trend do you see over 5
No,
years?
what I see is I see 11% for the next 2 years that have been approved. And my sincere hope is that we get down into single digits, down into the 3% range. And I think that's probably a realistic goal at this point.
I've done financial turnaround, so I've done these things where you have to go in and basically say, hey, we don't have enough money to go around. Because in the business community, if you don't have enough money to go around, you go out of business. EID really has low risk of going out of business, but nonetheless, it has a very important service that it provides to all of us. So the rates are going to go up, some more before they hopefully level off. I would hope that we'd be able to cut that 11% next year in half, and but that's going to cause some real pain to get to that level, real pain. But that would be a nice first step. And so you figure out, okay, how can we do something that's doable? Spread that pain around a little bit, just like the 102% is whacked to everybody, and then assess it. But I think the next 2 years, we need to spend time on how we cut costs, not the way it's always been, where they figure out how can we spend more money.
Since we're not going to be on the budget in January, you're going to get an 11% increase in January, so forget that one. Number two, I think what you're talking about is budgeting, and whether you're using a zero-based budget or whether you're going to budget based on last year's expenditure. One of the things I try to institute is a zero-based budget, so that you start out with this amount of money, and then you see what you can spend. And then I would demand a freeze on all rate increases until EID had its financial house in order. Is that what you want to hear?
No, what's your projection for rate increases over 5 years?
Over 5 years, I'd like to see a freeze.
At 11% increase each year?
No, a freeze after the 11% increase in January.
And flat.
It's going to go up, and we're not going to be on the board in January.
I understand.
Okay? That 11% increase is going to happen.
Okay.
But after that, I'd like to see a 5-year freeze until we get our house in order. No increases for 5 years.
I like that answer.